Hi, I'm Tina, the Joy Oracle at InnerDelight, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join me here inside the Divine Joy Circle. I'm really excited to be introducing you to a very special guest today for another Joyful Connections episode. This is a series of conversations with other soul-inspired entrepreneurs who have discovered how to let joy be their guide to creating a life and business that is worth waking up for every day. So I'm really delighted to be introducing you to Marianne Soucy. Welcome, Marianne.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. It's going to
Yeah,
be exciting.
it is. And just a little bit about Marianne for anyone who hasn't met her yet. You may have read her post, because Marianne is the founder of Healing Pet Loss and the author of Healing Pet Loss: Practical Steps for Coping and Comforting Messages from Animals and Spirit Guides. She's also the host of the Healing Pet Loss podcast. She's the founder of Give Your Dreams Wings, where she helps spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, intuitives, and authors manifest their dreams. Marianne will guide you through inspirational wisdom and practical steps so that you may create and fulfill your dream while staying deeply connected to spirit and self. This is so exciting, huh? I know one of the things I would
Yeah.
love to talk with you about, maybe to share a little bit about your sacred spirit journeys, because I've been reading your posts on your blogs, both the blogs, and they're very inspiring and just very beautiful messages. And I actually have a little doggy here at the moment who never comes around while I'm recording, but he is up close right now. I must know that we're about to talk.
That's interesting. That's nice.
Yeah. So would you like to share a little bit about that, the
Yeah.
sacred spirituality, and how that came to be? How did you come to do what you're doing?
I've been doing shamanic journeying for many years and using it in my own life and to help others. And connecting with spirit and getting healing, wisdom, and guidance. It has really brought me through some big changes and moved me forward. And I ended up with using it on a website and in a business. What happened was that when I grew up believing that you just had to get a regular job and it wasn't supposed to be funny, just do the job, and it was a way of making money. But I always had that internal driving force that there's more to life, and I didn't really fit in. So it was a constant feeling like I don't fit in and there's more. So when I ended up in a secretary position, which I've been holding for many years, it's like part of my life is blacked out. Like I can't express who I really am because there's more to it. So that search drew me to start taking yoga and do shamanic journeying, and I found out that I get not just healing but insights I couldn't get anywhere else because it was on a deeper level that I could find here in the outside world. And then I started using it more and more, and then at some point it was like a shift made. I had to make a difference. I had to take the next step and create a life that where I could use those because I found out they meant so much to both me and in the work I did with our own cats and the people around me that it had to be used for something more. It had to be, I knew I could help a lot of more people. And then I ended up creating the Healing Peddlers website, and that started with losing one of my own cats, Kia, and she died all alone in an animal hospital instead of at home with us, and it was devastating to get through that guilt. And to me, there was really nothing I could do, nothing that would help besides connecting with her. So then I used the sacred spirit journeys that I call them to connect with her and get her messages, and that was what helped me most.
Wow. So how did that
I call
start?
them,
How did that
yeah.
happen?
So I call them sacred spirit journeys because the word sacred puts you in like more respectful, in a certain state where, I mean, you can hear it from the word sacred. It creates some kind of special feeling of reverence and respect right there. Plus, I also use a special writing technique I have to capture those messages, because the journeys you do, it's often, with closed eyes, and you can speak the journeys aloud when you connect with spirit, changing your state. And usually it's for drumming, or there's a lot of different ways you can do the journeys. And then that's how it happened. And then it just took off. But in the beginning, it was hard to share those, even though I knew the journeys were like the key thing, the main thing I had. I was trying not to be weird, and
I'm sure nobody watching or listening can relate to that one. Yeah.
So I was holding it back for a period, but first of all, it's hard to be motivated when you're trying to fit in and do things that are not completely aligned with your heart. But I found that when I just started being me and sharing the journeys and doing them, not only did they improve, and the messages, people also started connecting. There are people that don't get them, that is not for them, and that's fine. But then on the other hand, the more I go into being just sharing them and sharing who I am and what I have to share, the more that people get them, the more excited they are, and the more transformation they get in their life. So it allows me to go deeper and help people on a much deeper level, because I allow myself to share myself completely the way I am and with everything I have in the best possible way. And then it's like, take it or leave it, because this is me. If I'm trying to create a life and a business like this, it has to be genuine. It has to be a very important part of what I do. Combined with practical things, because I also very grounded, and I like to keep my feet to the ground and do practical things. So that combination, that seems to be the best and the most effective way that I have found.
Would you mind just sharing maybe one story or a message that you received that had such great impact that it really stands out for you, or that maybe the person who received the message, it's like, wow, this really jumps to mind when you bring that story forth?
Yeah, that's... The first that comes to mind is that is my own story with Pia. I have one of her short message that she had, because it made such a difference in my life. That's one of the things she said is, when you fully realize that you can access me and my love right here in the present, that all guilt and regret will fall away, and you will not only remember our time together with love and joy, but also experience my presence in the now, for I am with you wherever you go. Messages like that are very powerful, and it's not so intellectually, they go deeper, and people resonate with that, and the people who get these messages, because there's also like healing involved with them. And there have been several stories with, let's say, a woman had lost her dog, and she had another one who was also grieving. And I did a journey to connect with her dog in the afterlife and brought back a message. And it changed her, because the dog was still around her, and it was helping her return to joy, encouraging her to let go of the grief and move more into the joy. I forget exactly what it said. But that connection, she felt that connection, and she reported back afterwards that the other dog that she had actually got much better and changed. So it also helped the grieving, because it affects everybody around you, and often the animals, if they're close to the ones you lost, they're also grieving, and they don't necessarily move out of the grief themselves. Often they do, but I also had that with one of my cats. There were two that were best buddies, and then the other one, the first one died. He put the orange one for my website. And another one, we had Freedom. He was grieving for quite a while, and we thought we were going to lose him because he looked in worse and worse shape. But then I journeyed with him sometimes, and the cat that had passed, he came back and comforted him and brought him messages. And then you can say, yeah, but did it really happen? And then you can argue that, forever, because what I saw was that the day after or shortly after that, he changed. He came back and he was in much better shape, and he came up and sat on my lap and got peace, and he started eating again. And it's interesting, in connection with a lot of those journeys, you get confirmation from the universe, because a lot of signs happen. In the journey I did for when Freedom was grieving the loss of his friend, there was a hot air balloon that appeared. We were traveling in the journey. And the same evening after I did the journey, then outside here in the garden, just above the trees, suddenly there was a big red hot air balloon hanging right over the trees. And I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was pretty wild. And the next couple of weeks, I just kept seeing balloons everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of, it's very interesting when that happens, because then you can feel that everything is connected in the universe. Most of the time we go around and feel like we're isolated, but we're not, and that comes across very clearly when you do these journeys, because then you connect like across borders, you connect with spirit, and
it's really
you
beautiful.
regain some of that connection.
I think when you were sharing that message before about the not to grieve, and it's like, well, I think many people will be able to relate to that if they've had a pet and then lost a pet, but also in their personal life, the feeling or the sense of dealing, losing somebody in whichever capacity that is, and then realizing that, wow, reading those words will bring, it's like, it feels to me when you were saying it like a reminder from spirit that, wow, we are all here right now, and all you have to do is remember, and the moment you do, everything just, you feel that connection again, right?
Yeah. But that's also I find a continuous process, because you have to keep returning, because I feel also like it keep being pulled away, and life gets in the way, and stuff happens. Life is not always easy. But then it's just keep returning to the present. And I found that one of the best ways to cope. One of the most important things is to really make that, now that we're also talking about self-care, super, super important self-care habit to put in place.
So what do you recommend to people when what's the biggest thing that you see? It's so easy. I mean, so many people in society these days, we've been so conditioned to be driven to be do, and then maybe you be. How do you support your clients with turning that around, making themselves priority?
I would say what I have done also is you make morning ritual. You make sure to take time in the morning to whatever you do, yoga or whatever, some exercise, meditation, something to take care of you, to get the best start in the morning, instead of just waking up and doing emails. But make time for you, for the body, for the mind, for the soul. Sorry. And then throughout the day, whenever you have chance, go back into becoming present. For instance, if you're sitting in the train or standing, maybe a crowded train, just take a moment and go in and just become present in the body and just listen to the sounds, just listening to the sounds and acknowledging the people around you. That can make a big difference, because often I have noticed also there's some kind of resistance. I don't really want to be here. This is a crowded place and I can't breathe. But if you change and say, okay, I'm here now, this is where I am, so I've become present here. Or if you're in an uncomfortable meeting, or if you're doing an interview, when you allow yourself to be there and stop resisting, that's one of the most important things that I have found, that it really makes a big difference. And then maybe taking some deep breath. That's also something I have implemented, especially lately, because I ended up in extreme overwhelm, because I'm trying to struggle with having a regular job, full-time job, and online business, and taking care of 2 websites and a home and kitties. And so then I realized that it doesn't matter how many action steps or what I do, my health and the focus on simplifying and taking care of me and keep returning to peace and try and pay attention to when do I slip into do and stress mode, and sort of stop that and just return to me. That's important. Self-care, I would say, is very important. And then prioritizing your day, prioritizing the things you do, because especially for people who have an online business or websites, there are so extremely many things to do, and especially in the beginning, we have to do everything ourselves, and it's almost impossible not to end up in overwhelm. Finding out exactly what you need to do that's most important during the day, combined with making sure you take time for you, that would be probably some of the most important things you can at least start by implementing.
Yeah, so on your website you have one of the offerings that you have is for people to learn how to do this sacred writing technique, right? So that's about really connecting in. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that? So just
I have there's a free ebook that people can learn more, and I'm putting together some courses with that. And that is a writing technique where you get yourself out of the way, because it's not intellectual writing. I use it to capture the messages from the journeys, and that can be from animals in the afterlife, it can be other people in the afterlife, it can be connecting with spirit guides and getting their messages, or connecting with your soul, or it's also even a way of, if you take it deeper, of doing the shamanic journeys. Because I have a background in shamanic journeying, I often end up doing journeys as I write. And to keep it short, it's basically about getting yourself out of the way, and there are special techniques for that, and then using the writing in a very special way to stay focused, because that handwriting, it kind of slows the mind, it helps slow the mind down, and it helps keep you focused. And then it becomes a dialogue with whoever it is you're communicating with there.
Can anyone do it? You think anyone can do it, even if they don't like writing?
I think everybody can do it if they follow the steps, because it's basically about depends on based on how I developed it. Then I have put together some steps that people can do to get themselves out of the way and to connect with because you're not inviting just anybody in. It's not like a Ouija board. You connect and you have an intention, and then you connect with whoever else you are. Maybe you want to connect with a certain an animal or a spirit guide, or you have a subject that you want insights on. It can also be used, for instance, for blog posts. Like I have done it sometimes. I have a certain topic And then I go in and ask if anybody of my spirit guides or have some insights on that. And then they come up with things that I couldn't even begin to come up with. I couldn't even write. But also see it different. That it's very interesting because the writing, the words that come out are different. That's not the way I usually write. And often the ones that come through, whether it's animals and spirit guides, they all, even though it's filtered by me, they all have their own certain tone and voice and the words they use. That's also a way of seeing and realizing that it's not me who's doing it, because that's a way of checking.
Yeah, so you're the messenger, and they're sending the message, and you
Yeah,
happen to be
that's
kind of the
also a
scribe.
big part of it, is to become a hollow bone,
Yeah.
as I like to say, because it's, you need to get the mind out of the way. That's the main thing, because it's not that we used to. So I find that extremely useful, and it makes writing so much easier. I remember in school writing all the essays and papers and exams. Man, was that that was a struggle. I mean, you can write something good, but it was really a struggle. With this, I do this, and it's never been easier.
Yeah,
It
that's
just takes
awesome.
time, because there's a lot of preparation. Because the more properly you do the preparation, the easier and the better it gets. And nothing is important. Is it helps when you have something on your mind, some focus. Like if you really want a message from this one, like when Kia died, I really wanted to connect with her. If there's something that you are, it's not just okay. Let me just get a message about anything. It comes through more clearly when there's something that you really want to hear about, or somebody you really want to connect with. Then it becomes stronger and more clear.
Beautiful. So, would you mind just sharing how people can connect with you? Because if they would like to either experience some of the courses for themselves, or to download your book, or to have a private session with you, could you share
Sure.
where they can contact you?
They can contact me on healingpeddlers.com for both the journeys to connect. I can connect with that pet for them. They can actually also try it themselves, as an easy exercise, a simple way they can connect with their own pet. And there's actually quite a few people who found that interesting and that find that helpful. And I also have on that site some compassionate listening, because people often want to share their grief and share their stories. When you have lost an animal, often people around you don't really understand. So a lot of people feel very alone. And everybody's not comfortable sitting in a group with others. They're more private. So that's enough offer there. And then Give Your Dream Wings. There's also a possibility to get journeys. And that could be anything from clearing obstacles to getting clear on your path to healing. And because often it's the internal work. If the inner work is not done, it's hard to move forward on the outer. Like with the overwhelm, I'm creating an overwhelm course here, putting the finishing touches to, and that has both a lot of practical steps, and it also has some internal stuff with some journeys and meditations and self-care tips, because the inner and the outer both need to be addressed. And I do it in my unique way. And since I've just been digging myself out of overwhelm, then I'm using a lot of the things that really have been helpful to me.
Yeah, beautiful.
And
I
the
really
Sacred
like
Spirit
it.
Bible.
Hmm?
And everybody there, they can just contact me through my website, contact form, and
Great.
learn more.
Yeah, because I really like how you share. You share your stories. People can read the messages that have come through, and just get a sense of the energy that comes through and the wisdom that comes through. But also, like you say, you know what it's like to be doing so many things and to experience overwhelm, and you found your way through. So that makes it very easy for people to connect with you, because they know you can relate to where they are. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's
been
really
there,
great.
done that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, I know that we could be talking about plenty more things, and maybe that will be another time. But I'd just like to thank you. And could you have a final message that you would like to close our Joyful Connections time with here today?
Well, you're not alone, as always. Don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to follow your dreams. There's always that internal voice, that internal drive that sure you won't have. Listen to your heart and follow your dreams, and even though the obstacles on the way, just keep returning to the path and just keep moving forward.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, what a joy to spend time with you. And again, for anyone who would like to connect with you, they can go to healingpetloss.com, right? And what is the
Give your
Facebook
dream
page?
wings.
GiveYourDreamWings.com, yeah? And then the Facebook page by the same names.
Yeah,
Healing.
yeah,
Yep.
same names, Facebook.
Okay, well, we'll
Yes.
post the link so people will be able to find that. And, for anyone who's watching or listening, if you'd like to connect and maybe connect with, maybe you've had an experience where you've lost a pet and maybe you're still grieving and you would like to know how you can connect with that special one. I read a beautiful quote the other day. Someone said that unless you have loved a pet, then a part of your soul is still asleep. And I feel that that is
Yes.
really so, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
something,
powerful one.
yeah. So, it's beautiful that being able to connect here with you and to know the amazing resources that you offer for people to experience this connection for themselves, but also that if they feel they would like support with that, then they'll be able to coach with you privately. So that's really awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, Marianne.
welcome.
Wow. Until the next time, go forth. Let joy be your guide to a life that is worth waking up for. Thank you and many joyful blessings.